and welcome to Stylish Chats with Creatives. Today on the show, I've got Andy Berry. Hello, Andy.
Hello, Charlotte. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I'm pretty all right, thanks, yeah.
Good. So, I'll just a little let the listeners know how we kind of met, really, because I started working with you in a online fashion retailer studio, and I think you were there on a kind of permalance basis.
Yeah,
and
pretty much.
I think we were both, I was in a different section for a little while, and then we crossed over and started working together, and I just consistently chewed your ears off while we were working together.
Yeah, it was a very pleasant experience.
You're obliged to say that, right?
I am, yeah. I accept the payment afterwards.
50p, all right? I'll transfer it via PayPal.
So I'm very cheap. But no, yeah, that was, I don't even know when I started. It's 2016, I think. So.
Yeah, I feel like I was about the same. Yes, because they've still got my maiden name down.
Oh, wow.
In there. And we got married in 2017. So, yeah, it was pre-marriage, so, yeah, before Barber.
Yeah. That's, I mean, you're keeping your maiden name here as well.
Yeah, a little bit, yeah, with the... with the stylish thing.
Yeah. I, honestly, when you started this and I saw that name, I was like, that's such a great idea.
Oh, I cannot take credit for it. My very good copywriter friend, when I first was going to go freelance, said I was going freelance, she was like, oh, you're a stylist and your last name's Litchfield. Why don't you just call yourself Stylich? And then if you want to branch out, you've all got that branding. I owe her a lot of money, I think.
Ian, don't say that out loud.
I've bought her a lot of cake, so, you know.
Oh, that's fine then. Also another very cheap person, apparently.
Yeah. I just surround myself with people I can pay off in 50p in cakes.
Yeah, apparently. What a network you've got.
It's great. But yeah, she came up with it, and then it just it makes you a bit of a brand and people twig who you are, and then it didn't really matter when I changed my name, so you know, people still knew that it was me, apart from the people who have still left it as Charlotte Litchfield, which is I mean, it's fine, like, you know, that was my name 30 years, but yeah, it was just a bit funny when you got like a PO number through and it said like Charlotte Litchfield, and I was like, guys, I've been married like 4 years.
Get your shit together, come on.
yeah, come on, guys.
That's boss.
Yeah. So how did you get into the photography industry? Because you're now over in Dublin.
Yep. Working
for another fashion house. Yep. I'm going to call it a fashion house. Kind of do department store.
Yeah, probably. Oh God, I don't even know how you classify it. Fashion house sounds fancy, so I'm going to say fashion house. But yeah. Well,
they're on the high street as well, aren't they? So yeah.
So yeah. I'll accept that. I'm sure they would.
Yeah.
I got into it totally by chance. Like I've always had an interest in photography, but it was never something that I thought could be a career. You know, like when I was like 11 and 12 and we'd go on family holidays, that was the times that I would grab the camera from my parents and go around and, I don't know, take a photo of a leaf on a wall. You know what everyone does? Everybody's first portfolio is macro shots of a leaf on the floor and a cat's head or something. You know, it was just crap, but I loved it, and so that it always remained a hobby. To the point where when I was in sixth form, I took a day off. I'd saved up a buttload of money from like birthdays and Christmas, and I was like, right, I'm going to buy my camera. I'm going to buy this camera I've had my eye on for, I don't know, about 6 months or something. So I took a day off college. Oops. And I was like, right, took a train into Liverpool and went to, it was Jessop's, I think.
Oh, yeah.
And bought myself a Sony NEX5.
Oh, nice.
I loved it. It was terrifying walking home with it. So it was the most expensive thing I'd bought at the time. I think it was like 590 quid. And I was like, oh my God, I'm going to get mugged. It's like, that's not how things work. So yeah, I took that camera everywhere with me. And it was great I loved taking photos of people in the street at that point. So I moved away from, shit on the floor to people in the street. And then, yeah, that was kind of when it became a serious hobby. Like, set up a shop on Redbubble.
Oh, yeah, I remember Redbubble, yeah.
So I set up a shop there, and I remember somebody buying a print of my parents' car. I took a photo of the headlight, and my brother's car was in the background. It was honestly one of the worst photos I'd ever taken. There was litter, like, on the floor, which I'd not photoshopped out. I'd done some weird tone curves so that all the colours were wrong. I hadn't set it up correctly for print. And someone, I think it was in Australia, bought a huge canvas. I think they spent about 130 quid, 140 quid on this panoramic-esque shot of a headlight. And I was like, oh, I don't need to be good for this. Like, it's very much a beauty in the eye of the beholder.
Yeah.
So I think at that point, I just started taking photos of everything and putting it up on Redbubble. And I was like, seeing what stuck,
Yeah. Was there anything else that stuck there and that surprisingly sold for you?
I would say there was a few. It was back in early 2010s when HDR images were a big thing.
Yeah.
Everyone would get the clarity slider and pull it up to 100.
Yeah.
And everything had a weird haze around it. There was a horrible separation in the tones. And every image looked terrible. I took a shot of one of my neighbours. They had a Rolls-Royce Ghost outside the house.
Oh, cool.
And I was like, I'll go take a photo of that. And I took a shot and I totally over-edited it. And someone bought a greeting card of that. And I was like,
wow.
Why? No, don't do that. And then I was like, okay, it's something to do with cars. I'm going to try other things here. So I took a photo. I went to the Audi garage in Liverpool.
Yeah.
Again, I took a day off college. And this is probably why I failed college, I'm going to be honest. And I took a photo. I went in there and I was like, I spoke to the woman at reception. I was like, hi, can I take some photos of the cars in here? And she was like, yeah, what's it for? And I was like, it's just, I like them. So I just want to get some photos. And she was like, yeah, no problem. So
cool.
She let me walk around and stuff. And then she came over to me, gave me a keyring, an Audi keyring, and was like, we normally only give these when people buy a car, but you seem to be really into them. I was like, thanks. And then, so I took this photo of Audi emblem on the front of a TT, I think. Or an R8, I think it was. And I put that up on Redbubble, and someone bought 120 greeting cards or 120 postcards of it. And that was in Germany. And then a few days later, there was another order for like another 40 of them. And
that's weird.
It's really weird. So I was thinking, like, is that a dealership? like it's like a second-hand place maybe, and
Yeah.
they're using it for something. I was like, great. I got like, I don't know, like 15 pence from everyone that I saw. So I was like,
Yeah.
hey, you got a bit of pocket money.
Yeah.
I'd say that was the weirdest one because it was never, again, it wasn't good. All of the ones that I put effort into went nowhere.
Yeah, isn't it funny how like stuff you just quickly, I don't know, like just quickly take a shot of, or you know, don't put much thought into, seems to sell really quick and really well, but stuff that you put like loads of thought into just doesn't fly.
It's really
Weird.
odd. Like it's just like more testament to the idea of winging it
Yeah.
and seeing what sticks. So, I mean, that was like I suppose that was the beginning of my photography career. Not actually, but yeah. To actually get into the job, I went through 2 very failed apprenticeships. I dropped out of sixth form after repeating the first year twice. I didn't repeat it twice, I went through it twice.
Yeah.
I did worse the second time round, I think.
Oh, crikey.
Yeah. And got an apprenticeship, got fired from that because I couldn't answer the phones very well.
Was this like a sales apprenticeship?
Kind of, yeah. It was like I don't know. I don't even know what the job was. That's probably why I got fired. My role was digital apprentice. It was like, it's so vague. They got me I was doing lots of different things. I was doing
carry on.
And I was just saying, I was doing spreadsheets for a little bit, and I loved that. But then, because I'm a fucking nerd. But then it was like, you've got to call up places and make sure they're happy with our service. And I'm like, I don't want to do that.
Yeah, it sounds very ominous, the job title.
Digital apprentice. It's like, we can just throw anything at you. And you have to do it if it involves anything digital.
Yeah, like, we'll just launch a computer at you and anything that comes up on there you have to deal with.
Yeah. I mean, I did. I didn't do it well, but I dealt with it. I evidently didn't do it well.
So is that a situation where they like pulled you in the office and were like, hun, we don't think this is working?
Oh, God, yeah. It was, how do you think you're doing? I was like, I think I'm doing all right. And they're like, well, we don't. So you've got a few minutes to collect your things. And, you know, I was like, okay. Yeah, I understand. But I don't know. It's just some things just like some jobs aren't for certain people. And
Yeah.
I evidently cannot sit down at a desk and just do that job. I can, but I don't enjoy it enough to put enough effort in, which is, I don't know if that's a work ethic thing or if it's finding something that just clicks, you know?
Yeah, I think it's the second, because when I was managing a studio and I was asked to do spreadsheets and work out formulas and basically do lots of maths, my brain imploded.
Oh, really?
And I remember just ringing my sister and being like, I really need your help. Can you help me with this spreadsheet? And she'd literally be on the phone, like, supposed to be doing her work and like guiding me through how to do spreadsheets and stuff. Like,
oh my God.
Yeah, I think some people just aren't meant to do certain jobs. Like, I'm thankful now because I know how to do spreadsheets, but I rarely use them.
Well, it's hardly an everyday. I mean,
No.
Some people organise themselves through spreadsheets, which I love the idea of.
Yeah.
But it's getting started, which is so hard.
Yeah. It seems like quite a mammoth thing as well. Like, I've done a couple of sort of financial spreadsheets, you know, to just so you can save up for a goal or a house deposit or whatever.
Yeah.
And they're quite good, but it's sitting down for 2 hours and doing it because I'm not the fastest at organising it to begin with. I'd probably prefer like a quick pencil drawing on a bit of A4.
I'd say that's more daunting.
Do you think?
Yeah, like a blank piece of paper is the scariest thing you could put in front of me.
Really?
Yeah, because it's blank. Anything can go on there, which means you've got to think of something. Like,
Oh, so you don't ever just like sit and like doodle or
not consciously. Like I won't sit down to scribble. I think I used to, but lately I've become more and more anxious. So it's come with the anxiety. So yeah, I put a blank piece of paper in front is terrifying, but a spreadsheet, it's already got the grids, so it's like, can't spoil this. It's already done.
Well, yeah, I suppose so.
Yeah.
And then I suppose because it's online, because it's digital, you can just delete it, can't you?
Yeah. It's like you can't get rid of pen. Well,
Well, I mean,
burn it. I don't know what you...
Yeah, I was just going to say you scrunch it up and throw it in the fire, but...
Yeah. Oh, okay. We both went for fire. That's great.
Yeah.
That's concerning.
I think it's because I'm thinking about putting the fire on.
Oh, I wish we had a fireplace. It's definitely fire weather.
Yeah, absolutely. Like, we've got a pretty big enclosed wood burner in this new house. Best thing ever. But when we moved in May, by June, Nath was like, I want to see if the fire works. I want to see how it works. And he like had a fire in June.
Was it a learning process on how to use it? Because like just an open fireplace, like it's a log burner, right?
Yeah.
How do they? There's vents and shit that you've got to open, and what? How do they work?
Yeah. So we've got little fire starters, and they're eco-friendly, like little wood shavings with sort of paraffin wax in them.
Oh, so,
and then there's little bits of kindling, so you kind of make a little like pyramid with the kindling, put a couple of firelighters in, light it up, open the vents fully wide, and then once it's going, whack a log on, and then just pull the vents shut a little bit, and that's it.
Oh, okay. I went round to my wife's dad and stepmom. They've got a place in Portugal. We went round on for Christmas, and they have like a log fireplace in the corner.
Yeah.
So they bought logs, they got the fire starters and shit, and we were like, we're in Portugal, it's very warm, but you know, aesthetic. We want to try the fireplace. Could not get it started. Like we bought the right logs, got the right fire starters, but there was like vents that you have to open. But there was one at the bottom and there was one at the top.
Yeah.
And there was a gap underneath, and I don't know how it works. And I was like, I did that thing that really cocky people do. And I'm not usually cocky. And I was like, I can do this. Yeah. I was like, I probably shouldn't say that when it comes to a fire inside a house. It's like, I got this. so that quickly got extinguished, and we were like, let's not.
Yeah, I have to say, Nath showed me how to do it, because you have to clear out like the ash and stuff at the bottom and things. But then once he showed me how to do it, I was away. I was like, yep, girl can make a fire if she's got all the right equipment.
Love it. Love that. That's sick.
Yeah. Going back to your apprenticeships, you said you had 2 failed apprenticeships. What was the other one?
I was a social media apprentice. Ooh. So, yes, both of them were digital. So, that was a bit of a strange one. So after my first apprenticeship, I volunteered at a charity in Liverpool for 7 months or something like that. And there was a organisation which held open days for different companies to find apprentices. So we have to go through like an initiation and like team competitions and stuff like that. So it all got whittled down from like 400 people to 20 or something.
Yeah.
And I somehow ended up in that final group of people. And then the companies get to pick which apprentice they want.
Oh, cool.
I think you get a say. Like, I would like one of these 3, you know. So yeah, I ended up there, and it was a great experience. Like, it was a really good thing. I learned a lot about team building and teamwork and stuff like that, because I've never really had to do too much. But yeah, come to the end of that apprenticeship, I thought I'd done pretty well, but it was like 2 weeks before the end, and they let me go. They terminated my contract for reasons unknown, but I'm so glad that they did.
Yeah.
Because right after that, I became aware of a position that was going in the place where we met, in the same building. And yeah, so I went for that. And yeah, that was great. I started off as a I can't remember what it's called. A prepper, let's say.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, so I was preparing products for shoot. No studio background at all before this, so I had to learn kind of quickly. It was great. I was surrounded by great people that all of them.
Yeah.
And then within a few weeks, I was like, I want to pick up a camera again.
Oh, that's cool.
So yeah, I was asking a few of the photographers, like, can you show me, the process? And then I gave it a go. And then I went over to the studio manager and was like, I can do this. And yeah, they got me there as a freelance photographer. And that was
so cool.
Yeah, that was pretty much the only thing, the only place that I freelanced.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, I mean, I did a few other ones where I think I shot the Manchester Marathon.
Oh, okay,
I think
cool.
it was the one in Salford.
Yeah.
So I was one of the finish line. Well, I was the finish line photographer. I was hoping there was going to be another person there, but it was just me. And I was like, I've never done sports photography.
Jeez, and that's a lot of people coming through as well.
So many, and you have to get 3 of each person.
Oh.
Yeah, you've got to get a full length one. You've got to get a waist up, and you've got to get like a headshot as they're coming towards the finish line.
Oh, Jesus.
Yeah, which isn't too bad, because the person at the front are usually pretty ahead. Mm-hmm. And then the second one is like maybe a minute later, and it leads you into a really false sense of security. Yeah. It's like, oh, this is easy. And then 10 minutes later, a group of, I don't know, 6 or 7 people come around the corner at the same time, and you're like, oh no, there's so much pressure now. I've got like 30 seconds as they're all approaching to get these 18 shots. I'm just like, yeah, I don't recommend that for anyone that's anxious.
No, I mean, that just my sister runs marathons, so I've seen these shots that you're talking about.
Yeah.
That come through, and I mean, they get sent digitally over, and like my sister will be like, "Oh, look at my face," and she's like pulling her face, because who wouldn't be pulling a face at the end of a marathon? But I didn't realise they had to be so quick. I didn't realise there was only like one person, or probably different at like bigger events. Yeah. But like, oh Christ, you must have just been there like taking loads, just hoping that you got everybody.
Yeah, I was terrified. And the thing is, I was borrowing a camera, because the one I had wasn't suitable for sports photography. Yeah. So I was borrowing a Nikon. Yeah. And I shoot on Canon. So when I was zooming in the wrong way, because for some reason they invert.
Of course, yeah.
Because you got to be different. Yeah. So I was going in for that quick headshot, and I was getting a full body shot, and I was like, no. And I was panicking, and of the whole day though, I got one of my favourite shots that I've ever taken, which was a guy coming around the corner holding a beer in his hand. he must have just grabbed it off his mate or something near the finish line, and he's got it held up in the air, and he's got a massive smile on his face. It's like, that's a great moment for you, sir.
Yeah, that's the way to end a bloody marathon.
That is a great way to end a marathon.
Yeah.
So yeah, it was a stressful time. So I think I did. That was the only time I did that was the only time I did a finish line one. But I did another it was Birkenhead or around there.
Oh yeah.
It was a cycling event.
Oh.
So yeah, I was like midway through the race. It was a nowhere point. It wasn't too important to get them there. But that was another one. But I think the fact that it wasn't at the finish line really helped with the pressure.
Yeah, because you were just getting what you could rather than like a specific.
And because they're so like the speed they go is insane. It's like if I miss it, it's understandable.
Yeah.
But the people at the end of a marathon, they're basically walking. So like if I miss this, it's on me. It's no one else.
They're walking or crawling.
I saw one crawl. I saw someone as well with a kid on their shoulders. They must have just grabbed them. I assume it was their kid.
Not just plucked a random child out of the crowd.
Yeah, and another one, there was a little girl dressed as Wonder Woman who was running across the line with her, I assume, dad. But I saw them like get over the fence right at the end. I was like, that was adorable. I'm glad I got that one.
Yeah, that's cute. That's cute.
But yeah, like where we worked, that was my that was my main freelancing position for 3.5 years, I think.
Yeah, because I feel like a lot of people were what we kind of, I think it's slang really, but we call it like permalance, where you're in quite a lot.
Yeah.
You have like a loyal relationship between client and freelancer, and then you're in quite a lot regularly, and you know, as long as you go off and do the odd thing, HMRC, I don't really follow you around, but it's definitely a position where it's assumed that you're there, unless you say otherwise. So you're not getting booked for the week. You come in, unless you say like, oh, by the way, next week I've got a different job, so I'm not going to be there. Yeah, which it's great for some people. Yeah, like, I think some people really enjoy it. Like, it's a bit more regular, but it gives you the freedom out of full time. Definitely,
like venturing into wedding stuff. Like that's always fun, but again, very stressful.
Yeah, I mean, like being on the other end of that, getting married is stressful enough without shooting a wedding.
Yes, it is.
Oh, God, fuck that.
Mine was, to be fair, mine was the least stressful wedding until, was it? I don't know. There was a whole bureaucracy thing.
Isn't there always?
Isn't there? Yeah. So, the day of the wedding though, like we were really excited. We'd book the cars and everything. Like we don't drive here, so there's no need to own a car. So we'd booked some Uber X.
Nice.
Which are the executive, like the Mercedes S-Class and BMW 7 Series. We booked a couple of those because there was only 6 of us because it was mid-COVID. So, so it was the day of in the morning. I got a notification on my phone saying that my car had arrived, and my wife got a notification around the same time saying that hers had arrived. Now, this was about 25 minutes before we were supposed to leave. So I we both messaged saying like, oh, you're early. The response that my wife got was, no worries, I'll wait about. Just let me know when you're on your way out and I'll open the doors. Yeah. Oh, he was a nice guy. Yeah. Mine said, okay, where was the final destination? I gave him the address. I don't know what, I'd already put that into the map, so I don't know why he needed to confirm that destination. And I was like, yeah, it's this place. And he was like, cool, okay. And then not 20 seconds later, I got a notification on my phone saying that I'd been charged for the full route. Yeah. And I got another notification saying that he's cancelled the trip.
What?
It was that order or the other way around. Yeah. So he either cancelled and charged me for the full trip, and then I was like, excuse me? And then I couldn't get in contact with him again. So, fortunately, I didn't have enough money to actually pay for that taxi. So my card declined. So, yeah, I don't know who the joke's on there, me or him.
I think on him.
Yeah, I'm going to go with that. It was a prepaid card. I just forgot to top it up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I had to then use another service that we have here, Free Now, which is just regular taxis. So I booked it, hoping that someone was available, and we all went out. My wife got into her car. It was lovely, and they were all spread out in the back of this nice Mercedes, and mine arrived, and it was a 2008 Toyota Prius or something. I don't know what it was, but it was quite broken. I think it was one of those, when you open the door, it creaks all the way as you open it.
Oh,
and I was like,
yeah.
Oh, okay. And because it was COVID, no one could get in the front seat, so there was the three of us, myself, our witness, and our friend, and another photographer that Peach.
Yeah.
So he lived with us at the time, and he was also a photographer.
He did, yeah.
So the three of us squeezing into the back of this Prius was that was how I arrived at the wedding.
Just squished like a sardine in the middle.
Yeah. Other than that, the day was perfect.
Yeah, it looked, honestly, you guys looked so happy, and it was really nice to see from my point of view, knowing you, and it's lovely to see that you've met somebody that you really love and really happy with, and it was so lovely to see your little wedding, and it was lush. I was like, yes, it looks so good.
He did it. Oh, thanks very much. That's
yeah, it was really nice. How did you guys meet? Because you flew over just before the Panny D, didn't you?
Yeah, I did. So I flew over January 2020. So actually 3 years ago this month.
Yeah.
Yeah, so that's flown.
I was just going to say, where has that time gone?
It's flown and dragged at the same time. Weird few years. That is not a unique take, what I've just said. So everyone has the same opinion. Yeah,
I feel like we've all feel the same. I feel like going into 2023, I was like, where's the last 2.5 years, 3 years gone? What?
I was making a capture session today, and I wrote 2021. I was like, that's just skipping a whole year there. What's happened?
You're just reversing.
Yeah, I'm not doing so well now. But yeah, we met on Tinder.
Oh,
which,
cool.
I know, a success story.
Yeah, that's really cool.
So yeah, we both moved. So my wife's from Brazil, and and she also moved in January 2020.
Oh, cool.
Yeah, so we both got onto Tinder. I met in February, and then the pandemic hit in March. So we couldn't see each other for 2.5 months, I think it was.
Oh.
Yeah, so that was weird, strange times.
Yeah, that's quite hard, especially on a new relationship as well.
Yeah, it was a new relationship, and we were basically the only people that we knew in the city.
Wow.
So I didn't know anybody else over here before I moved. And the same with her.
Yeah.
So we were each other's support at the time.
Oh.
So it was we were getting to know the city together, because I'd never been before, and she had also never been before. So yeah, that was our initial my Tinder bio, and I think hers was as well, being just looking for someone to explore the city with.
Yeah.
I was never looking for anything serious, anything else, and it turned into something serious and something else.
That's so cool.
Yeah, it was lovely, and
that's so nice. What a sweet little story, really, because it's so nice that you guys found each other when COVID was so dark for so many people. Yeah,
it really, I think, disrupted everyone's lives, obviously.
Yeah.
But the reason I accepted this job was it was close as well. It was close to home. Like, Liverpool's a 25-30 minute flight from Dublin.
Yeah.
So I'm not far from home, but the idea was to fly back every maybe 3-4 weeks, visit people.
Yeah.
Because it's cheap enough. The flights are going anyway, so I might as well be on one.
Yeah.
And and that obviously didn't happen. So yeah, so that was in fact, my parents only met my wife after our marriage, after we got married, after the wedding.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, they knew of her. We'd met on video calls, but
Yeah.
it was two months after the wedding. We flew over, and I was like, Mum, Dad, this is my wife.
Wow, that's so cool though,
Yeah.
to be like, here's my wife.
I know, that's a strange experience, and they were so happy.
Yeah, that's good. That's good. I think, like, it's such a nice story as well. Like, you know, it could have panned out so differently for you guys both.
Yeah.
Because you both didn't know the city and you know everything else.
Oh, absolutely. And like, I think we found each other at the right time, you know?
Yeah.
It definitely.
Yeah, fate set you up there, didn't it?
Fate came in clutch.
Yeah. It swooped in.
It did.
Always does.
It swooped in. It swooped me off my feet, it did.
So, you guys have been together then 3 years, almost.
Yeah, but next month it'll be 3 years since we didn't put a label on it, you know.
Yeah. Fair.
But yeah, it'll be three years since we met. So it was a very quick date, engagement, get married, because it was very like I spoke to my mum about this, and I was like, I'd never been interested in marriage before, and I was like, my whole like these last year and a half, like during COVID, I was like, it's really changed my view on things.
Yeah.
And she just said to me, if you love her, then go for it. Because, like, if anything, these last 18 months, 2 years, they've taught us that you shouldn't take anything for granted.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, absolutely. So we're not going to do the whole let's date for 3 years and then let's get engaged and wait another 3 years. It's like, let's just go for it, because life's too short to wonder, you know?
Yeah, I agree with you. I agree. I mean, like, me and Nath were only engaged for under a year.
Yeah. Wow.
And I think we were together a while, but he never actually wanted to get married. And then,
Twinsies.
yeah, he was like, twinsies. He was like, oh, I don't really want to get married. And then actually, so I was working away. This is when we were still living back in my hometown down south. And I was working away up in Manchester. And he'd got drunk because he wasn't working the next day, ordered a special edition PS4 with Darth Vader's face on it. And
impressive.
Like some sort of, yeah. And then it arrived the next day because it was from an online department store where stuff came literally the next day. And he went, I completely forgot I ordered this. And then I sent him a picture of my left hand and was like, oh, funny, because my hand's quite empty, right? Being cheeky.
Yeah.
And then literally like 3-4 months later, he was like, will you marry me? But from what he tells me, he was organising it way before the PlayStation arrived. So,
yeah, of course. Yeah.
Yeah. So we'll see who we believe. I believe him, I think.
He seems trustworthy.
Yeah. Bless him. But yeah, we got married quite quick. We were just like, we had quite a big chat about it really, because we were like, we wanted our grandparents there, and you know, Nath's grandparents mean an awful lot to him, and as do mine, and his nan, who's unfortunately no longer with us, but she was, I I was worried that she wouldn't make it if we waited any longer. I was like, I don't think she's, you know, we worried that she wouldn't make it if we waited 5 years.
Yeah.
And, you know, we wanted to give them a good day as well, you know. I mean, like, she was scooting around on that mobility scooter in Manchester Town Hall when we got married, like racing up and down and round, and didn't leave till like 1 a.m.
I mean, they've got some speed, so good on her.
Yeah. I mean, Jesus, we did take Naif's granddad to in Bury, I think there's a railway thing, and Naif went and picked his granddad up. This is after Nan had passed, and he goes, oh, I've got granddad's mobility scooter with us. And then granddad had put the crutches in the back of the mobility scooter, right? So scooting off at, like, he put it into on these mobility scooters, they don't have like miles per hour, they just have a tortoise or a hare. There's no,
so he
like,
put it in
between.
sport mode.
He put it in sport hare mode. And then, instead of just slowly braking, he just took his hands completely off the thing, off the, like, I think it was a bit of a twist and go, a bit like a moped.
Yeah.
And I nearly went into the back of him and nearly impaled myself on the crutches that were sticking out the back because he was going so fast. And I was like, Granddad, like, careful, there's, like, kids and stuff around. He was just, like, going crazy, like, going off. They go for, like, 20 mile an hour or something ridiculous.
Did you ever have a go?
No, and do you know what? It's still in their garage and I'd love to razz it round.
Do it.
Yeah.
Life's too
Next
short.
time we go down. Yeah, 100%.
Speaking of electric mobility, I tried those e-scooters for the first time.
Oh, did you? How'd you get on?
Oh my God, they're incredible. Like, it's so good. So it was in Lisbon when we went over.
Yeah.
And they've got so many different apps. I think this one was Bolt or something.
Yeah.
And yeah, it's incredibly fast, which is a little scary at first.
Yeah.
But because the streets there are so wide and open, they just go, and you feel safe knowing that you're not going to hit anyone because they've got so much room to go around.
Yeah.
Oh my God, please try it if you get a chance.
Well, I've tried one. We were using it for a shoot for a big supermarket. And because I'm so clumsy, if you know me, you know.
Oh, yeah.
I tried one and I daren't let it go above like 4 mile an hour. I was so scared of falling off.
Oh, no.
Yeah, I was a bit of a scaredy cat. But then I actually bought myself a kick scooter before we lived in the hills. Mm-hmm. So it had no, like, it was just like a adult's version of the kids one. And that was bloody great. But now I can't ride it with the hills because I will be on my arse. And I don't think, you know, I could do without broken arm because I've ridden a scooter down a hill.
I mean, it would be a great story. Just the idea of it is quite amusing.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably just need somebody filming me at the bottom.
Yeah, but I mean, to be fair, you've not had much luck with your army, didn't you? You fell on the stairs, didn't you?
Yeah, I fell down the stairs and I had picture frames in my other hand and I fell and landed. Basically, the wall you can see, but there's a flat, our stairs go up on like a little L shape, I guess, like a bit of a half spiral. Uh-huh. And I fell down the first 4 steps with glass picture frames. Basically face planted the wall and then caught my arm on a bit of like metal on the side, then literally like cut myself in between 2 tattoos, so it's like a scar in between the tattoos.
Do you know what? Great positioning for that.
Yeah, I mean, at least it didn't ruin any tattoo, which is fine. But I think it was more painful than a tattoo.
I mean, it sounds more painful than a tattoo.
Yeah, I was like proper hyperventilating and panicking. And then I ordered a takeout because we'd only moved here a couple of weeks. And Naif had to go to work because he was doing like night shifts. I ordered a takeout and it was really good. Yeah. And then the next day, Naif was off that night and he was like, should we just get takeout? And I was like, this Indian that I'd ordered was so nice. So we ordered it again and then the delivery driver, Naif opened the door and the delivery driver was like, oh, did you like last night's meal?
Oh.
So it'd only been in 2 weeks and we were already well known by
you were a regular already.
Yes.
You're a number 1 customer, thank you.
It's when they give you a extra bottle of wine at Christmas, you know that you're having too many takeouts.
You are funding their entire business.
Yeah,
I mean,
exactly.
they owe you a bottle of wine. That's fine.
Yeah, at least. At least. And it best be one up from a Tesco value one as well. Oh, dear.
Oh, I wouldn't mind some wine. We actually live near it quite close to a nice wine shop, and we go there every so often. Like when we moved, we didn't know much about wine. We were casual drinkers, you know.
Yeah.
Didn't know what to taste, and it was just, yes, this is certainly a red.
Yeah. Oh, this is tasty.
This white is clear.
Yeah.
So, yeah, went there and spoke to the owner of the shop, and he was super helpful. I didn't realise how much, like, went into flavour profiling.
Yeah.
And, like, we got this nice, I don't know what it was, but we got a lovely bottle of wine, and he said to us, like, what are you going to be drinking it with? Like, what food are you having? And we were like, we're going to have, I don't know, this chicken curry that I was making. I don't know. It's probably a chicken curry. And he was like, right, okay, if you don't know anything, like, about wines, we're going to steer clear of everything above this shelf, because if you're spending over €15 or €16 on a bottle of wine, it's going to be wasted on you.
Oh.
So we said, we'll stick to the cheaper stuff, we'll just stick to the lower price, and just look out for these flavours and try and taste this with it. It's incredible to know what you're tasting.
Yeah.
Like, I can't describe it. I don't know what I'm tasting, but it's like this, now that I'm paying attention to it,
Yeah.
and pairing it correctly, it's so good. I love knowledge. This is great.
Yeah. Yeah, it's really nice, isn't it? You actually sound a bit like us when we moved here. There's a wine shop here, and he knows that I like a Picot, which is like a white wine from near where my mum and dad are, actually, in France. And they're the buggers who got me into it. And he knows now, and so he's got some basically with my name on it in the shop.
Oh, you've got a special reserve.
Yeah, and then he's the same. He's so full of knowledge with, like, what wines, like what you're eating and what wines pair with it, or like sometimes he'll say to you, like, well, what do you feel like, you know? And actually I had a very good bottle of rosé with a friend down there actually not so long ago, and you know, it's just like, he's like, do you feel like something light? Do you feel like something a bit more full-bodied? And you're like, oh yeah, actually, oh that, and then you don't, like you say, you're not just getting drunk, are you? You're actually enjoying it.
Yeah, I mean, I used to just drink wine to get drunk.
Oh yeah.
When I was 18, I would just buy a box of wine. That was classy. Very classy. Box of white wine for, I don't know, like £4 from Bargain Booze.
Yeah.
I was just like, this is me for most of the night.
Yeah.
I think it's 3 bottles of wine in that. I think in a box of wine it's 3 bottles or something like that.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was. That's probably what ruined my my apprenticeships in college. I was just like, I was having a box of wine every week.
Just consistently pissed.
Yeah, I was like, I was just in a permanent state of. I was never hungover because I was never sober enough to. I wasn't this bad. I'm making this out. I'm making this out so much worse than it was.
Oh no, like we definitely. I'm a little bit older than you, and I remember going to visit my sister at uni, and on the way there I'd get like 4 bottles of wine, because I think a very big brand used to be 2 for like £7.
Lovely.
Yeah, and it was almost like vinegar, but
not lovely.
You know, we had like a bottle each before we went out because we were like cheapskates. I was working and my sister was at uni, but you know, you're still not on loads of money, are you, when you're like a teen?
No.
And so we drank down a bottle of wine before we went out.
Wow.
And like just insane. We were talking about this at Christmas actually. About we were both saying we remember being in the local nightclub, the one and only nightclub in our hometown, with a bottle of wine and a straw. We weren't even classy enough to have a glass with it.
Wow, you're just going straight from the bottle.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah. Despite my...
Props to you for doing that in public.
Yeah, I know. I was just about to say as well, despite I look a bit like Rocky now, like I was very much trialing the chav there.
Do you know, I've never been, I don't think I've been that outlandish to drink a bottle of wine from a straw in a club.
Yeah,
but I have massive amounts of respect for you.
Oh, I don't. Poor 18-year-old Charlotte.
It made you into who you are today.
Well, yeah, I suppose I wouldn't be here without that story, would I? So,
no,
you know,
that's the thing. Every little decision brings you to where you are. So,
yeah, 100%. Even if it's basically drinking vinegar from a straw in a nightclub.
Again, quite classy.
Yeah, obviously, setting the tone there.
Yeah.
I would also like to chat to you about your retouching and CGI things, because I know that you're very much into your CGI stuff, and it absolutely A, boggles my mind, and B, fascinates me that these things are available and here. Obviously I knew about Photoshop when I was a teenager, but my little head has never got round like how to even do it.
To comprehend it.
Yeah, that's the word. See,
No,
this brain fog is really doing me a doozy today.
Don't worry. Yeah, well, with retouch, I taught myself quite a bit from I don't even know. I was maybe 14, and I downloaded a cracked version of Photoshop. Because what 14-year-old's going to buy Photoshop?
Yeah.
And I did those really crap edits that you see on MySpace. Like, it's just, I miss MySpace.
Me too.
Yeah, so I was doing stuff like that and just playing about that. The best way that I've found I learn, especially with creative things, like where there's no real structure to things, is just playing about, just getting the software and seeing what it can do. Obviously getting a tiny tutorial to be like, oh yes, this tool does exist, and now it's like, how can I use it?
Yeah.
So retouching's always been something that I even today I think I'm pretty decent at retouching. Like some of the people that I work with now, it boggles my mind what they can do.
Yeah.
Like the way they can recover details which were never there. Well, they were there, but details which you just couldn't see. Everything was washed out, and they just bring it all back from a single shot. It's incredible what people can do, and I want to be them when I grow up. Yeah. So, yeah, retouch. That it started off teaching myself, and then went on to YouTube tutorials, seeing what you could do. And because I had an interest in photography, I was like, I'll go out and take some shots, bring them back, and I will spend 4 or 5 hours seeing what I can do with them. Sorry. And yeah, that was up until I started at the same studio as you.
Yeah.
That was pretty much all the training that I'd received. And then I was fortunate enough to work with photographers and retouchers who were happy to share their knowledge. And they taught me quite a lot. Actions. I'd never used actions before.
Yeah. And
they increase productivity and workflow performance so much. It's quite impressive how much you can automate if you get that workflow and get the parameters right in any filter that you apply or what have you. So yeah, that the retouch thing was great, and then I became a bit known for retouching and fixing up mistakes and kind of unusable images. I would fix them. So yeah, I would have retouch days instead of photography days every so often, which still, I don't know how I feel about that yet. Still.
Yeah.
When I was freelancing, like being booked as a photographer, but then put onto retouch, some days I was just like, I don't want to look at Photoshop. You know? Yeah.
I can imagine it can be quite intense, even with the actions. So, my understanding of an action is that it's just an automated, you can kind of like click a button and make Photoshop do something. Is that right?
Kind of, yeah. It's
yeah.
Like there's one which I don't know. For example, a dust and scratches action can be. So it's a good way of removing dust and scratches is to make a duplicate of the layer that you want to remove the dust from, and then go up to filter, dust and scratches, adjust the things a little bit. You can typically leave them where they are if you've done one shot and the other 83 shots for the day are all about the same. Then you can leave those values where they are, and then you mask out where you want the dust to be removed. So you've got two layers there. That's where an action can come in handy, because you can record yourself doing that once. So you can record yourself duplicating a layer, go into filter, go into dust and scratches and pressing OK, and then making a layer mask, and then you can press stop, and that action is there now. So you open up your next image, press that action, and it'll run the same process. So now you've got that dust and scratches layer ready to be manipulated to your desire. So that's
so cool.
It's things like that. It's not a long process to duplicate and do the filter, but when you're doing it repetitive, when you're constantly doing it throughout the day.
You're going to repetitively.
Repetitively, yeah. When you're doing it over and over again, that time adds up. It might only be 10 seconds once, but over the course of a day, you're saving 10 minutes, maybe.
Yeah.
And which is, it's nice to have these little creature comforts, you know?
Yeah. I suppose as well, like you say, it makes your day of retouching so much easier and so much quicker, especially if it's stuff that you're going to use a lot of. It just makes life a bit easier.
It makes things so much easier. Like you can get really complicated. People are very clever with how they automate and how they use actions. So that's probably like the basic surface level action that you could do. But yeah, some of them are very, very impressive. Yeah.
Just seeing people's work on skin or on reflective stuff just is absolutely insane. I can sit and watch people retouch for hours. I don't know what the fuck they're doing, but it just is very pleasing.
It's mesmerizing.
Just makes my it really is.
Yeah,
really is. It's like it's like that. It's like an oddly satisfying thing, isn't it?
Yes.
A bit like pressure washing. I love pressure washing.
Or a can fitting perfectly inside another can.
Oh yeah. That scratches a brain itch as well.
Yeah, it just does something.
Yeah, there's something there. So, do you use? I know, I've seen some of your CGI type things as well. Do you use that much?
Yeah. I use it both for recreationally and I suppose clients. And I also use it within my job at the minute. It's come in handy a few times to prototype lighting setups for proposed sets and whatnot. So I initially started using Blender, which is open source and free for everyone to use. So everyone should use it. It's incredible. So I initially started using that to learn studio lighting, because I'd never done anything like that before, and I wanted to know more about photography. So this was back before I even started freelancing, and I wanted to know what can be done. Obviously, it doesn't really. It kind of translates to real life if you get the setups right, but the general gist of it was to understand how certain shapes react to certain lights. Sorry.
You're right.
Oh, I had a cough there. So, yeah, it was just a big thing to play around with, and it turned into something which I've used in my job a couple of times now to help put forward proposed light setups.
That's so cool.
Which is really nice. Like the idea was there already from another studio. So I was collaborating with an art director, and I put these ideas forward and I was like, this is what we can do in the space. Showed them in 3D, and that it helped. I think having a visual aid to sell your idea is so important. So the fact that I could recreate the room where the setup was going to be and show how things will look on the set, it's a key kind of don't know where I'm going with this, but it's important to be able to show your ideas. Like, especially with me, I don't talk very well. So,
you do. But I get it.
Yeah.
It's like a visual thing, because a lot of us creatives as well are visual rather than like, what's the word I'm looking for now? Rather than like writing it in text, sometimes I just want a drawing.
Yeah. And
I suppose CGI or 3D work is the same as a drawing, and you can kind of then go, okay, the light looks... Because the thing with CGI as well is you can put in the light and stuff, can't you, from which angles you want it from.
Yeah.
And I think that then you are getting a very clear way over to other people. This is how big the space is. This is exactly how it'll work. And then there's nothing can be misconstrued.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I think that's amazing that you were able to use that skill like that.
Yeah, it's fun. I'm constantly doing it. And again, this is another thing which is just self-taught from playing about and watching YouTube tutorials.
Yeah, good old YouTube.
Anyone that knows Blender or has even heard of it will probably know the YouTuber Andrew Price, known as Blender Guru. And he has a famous tutorial called the Donut tutorial.
Oh, I've heard of this one.
There you go, yeah. And it teaches you how to create a ring donut glazed with icing and sprinkles. And and how to texture it and then how to light it. So it's lots of different elements, like particles for the sprinkles, and then maybe model like kind of mesh manipulation for the icing over the top. The lighting is just nice, realistic, real world lighting, and it's all in the one tutorial. So you get lots of usable skills from creating this donut, and then at the end you've got a donut to put on Instagram, which is pretty cool.
Yeah. That's so cool.
Yeah, so it's a really nice. It doesn't look user friendly when you first start, and when you first open it up, it looks really intimidating. But most of the things that you're looking at is just a grid. It's like Excel. It's just a nice.
Yeah, I suppose so. Yeah.
It's just a nice canvas with a default cube, with a little cube in the middle already, with a camera and a light, and now the whole thing is your playground. That's great.
Yeah. See, circling back to how you were saying a blank page feels intimidating to you, that sounds intimidating to me.
Yeah.
Like in a digital way. I'm like, would I know how to do that?
It's I don't know. I never felt that way ever looking at it, which is really strange. Like I said, mine's physical page will intimidate me, but anything digital, it's like I know there's a reset button.
Oh yeah, I suppose so. Yeah, I think I grew up in the 90s where there was one computer between the whole family.
Yes.
And my dad was going to like IT courses, you know, at the local college because he had to learn how to get on and do Excel and stuff.
Yeah.
So me and my sister were only allowed like, I don't know, an hour of computer time a day or whatever, half an hour. And this is back in like dial-up internet time and stuff. And
good old days.
So if we broke it, that was it. We were really told off. I think I never had this like robustness like you have of like, oh well, I've got a reset button, it's fine.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh shit, if I press that wrong, it is going to break it.
I understand the anxiety there then.
Yeah. I mean, like, the Lion King game me and my sister used to play, or The Sims, was great, but fair. You know, anything else, I think, I just...
That was too far then.
Yeah, too far. Way too far. It was like that meme you sent me the other day where it had like a floppy disk and it had Adobe Photoshop on. That was my teenage years in art, where they were like, try some Photoshop, and it was like, you have to put the floppy disk in. Like, what?
That was a 3D image I made.
What?
Yeah. That was...
my face. I'm like the little shocked emoji.
Yeah, that was a render of... yeah.
What?
Right.
You literally like took me back to being 14 in the art studio.
That was. I'll show you the. So I don't know if you can see over camera now, but this is the scene of it. Let's see.
You'll have to.
There you go.
Oh my god! You'll have to send me a screenshot so I can put it on the chats with
yeah, I will do.
Creatives Instagram so people will know what we're talking about, because that was mad. I was like, oh, take me back to like my weird art teacher.
Floppy disk Photoshop, God.
Oh Lord,
that'll take a while to
install. There's some money in that, surely. Oh yeah.
But I mean, like, it's you can do stuff like that. But you can be really creative with it. Like I followed another tutorial. There's a guy called Derek Elliott, and he does like really, really nice, just slow paced tutorials to do to model my sunglasses.
Oh, that's cool.
And that's like it's modeling stuff based on real world things.
Yeah.
Which is it's a great mix. It's a great mix of photography, and because I love still life. I love still life photography. I love creative stuff as well, but that which is I like the retro-y things as well.
Yeah.
So I sent you that floppy disk.
Yeah.
I thought you might like that.
It's so cool. But I think, how do you feel that CGI, how is that impacting your work? Because I know there's some interior stuff now that is CGI based, and there's some stylists who have moved over to CGI stuff.
Yeah.
Is it impacting your work yet? Or do you think it will impact it in the future? Or
it hasn't yet. But I think it will. Like, it's only the next... It feels like the next natural step to fully digitalise everything, which is scary.
Yeah.
But I don't know. Like, it's the same way when photography became a thing.
Yeah.
Like, quite mainstream. You didn't need people to illustrate posters by hand, by drawing people. I don't know. You take a photo instead. And now you can model that person. I know there are models now, like fashion models, who have had 3D models of themselves made. And fashion houses will book the 3D model to use. So that model never needs to go out now. because what sells it isn't the fact that clothes are on a model. It's clothes are on this famous model.
Yeah.
So if you can do that in 3D, then you're going to save money by not having to fly someone out and whatnot. But yeah, people still make a cut. I think it's just the next natural step.
That's just blown my fucking mind.
Yeah, I really hope I'm not making that up. I did read it. I just didn't fact check, which is a terrible thing for this generation to do. But yeah,
we've all been there.
It feels like, I mean, there's the whole like metaverse thing. I think that's flopped. I don't know, but
I'd heard that.
So, but I think it's gonna happen at some point. Same way with like AI, all the AI things that people can do, the DALL-E. It's gonna impact lots of creative spaces. But I think the best thing to do is try and future-proof yourself.
Yeah.
You know, try and learn new skills and ask people, look at tutorials, and find out what niche you can fill. You know, like you're a great stylist, and you like doing. I don't know, if you really like doing interior design, download 3D software. Download loads of free room assets. Like there's hundreds and hundreds of models that you can download for free.
Yeah, I think our mutual friend Jordan has done a few bits like that as well, and he keeps saying to me like, Charlotte, you need to get on this.
Yeah, absolutely. His work's great. His lighting is
really
gorgeous.
Good.
His room sets are God, they're so nice. I'm very envious.
Yeah, his stuff's really good. But I think, again, similarly to you, he likes to see stuff like he can do the technical side of it. And I think he said to me, he was like, you just need to try it.
Yeah.
You know, and then if it breaks or whatever, like, you know.
Worst thing that could happen is you need to reinstall it. Like, so what, you know?
Yeah, that's very true.
I think that's what anyone should. That's again going full circle.
Yeah.
It's how I got into photography. Just trying it.
Yeah.
I was never formally taught. There's no formal education, and it was never a path that I thought I'd go down. But it just so happens that through trying different things, it led me here.
Yeah, isn't that cool? Like, it's not. You've not gone to uni, not done the classic route, if you will, and you're shooting for really quite a cool, like, fashion house. Okay, yeah, fashion house.
That's a brand.
And, you know, and it's so fancy. And you've got yourself there from the curiosity. Your own curiosity has got you where you are. You know, that's really cool.
It was definitely a good start. The curiosity was a good start. But I'd say what got me here is having so much help from supportive people, supportive colleagues. Like, it's that the old saying, it's not what you know, it's who you know. It plays true. I mean, knowing things definitely helps. I'm not saying don't learn. But I think networking, especially in the creative industry, it's most of the work.
Yeah.
It's getting to know the right people and then knowing who to ask about the right things.
Yeah.
And you know, not pushing your luck, not like it's very easy to overstep, and someone may think you're trying to take their job. Mm-hmm. I think we mentioned this just before about gatekeeping.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that people kind of accept that you can't keep all information to yourself. Well, you can, but you're a dick.
Yeah, I think it's it's definitely changing from our generation.
Oh, good.
And below.
That's good.
And I think there's a lot of I think a lot of people are more open to sharing information and learning from other people who are younger, who have other skills that you maybe don't have.
Yeah.
And I think, you know, I wonder if some of the way older generation, because they had a different route into photography, you know, maybe they were shooting on film and shooting these big catalogues back in the day on film, and I can't imagine the literal arse-ache of that.
Oh, God, no.
Yeah, but things now are so much different, and I think so different, and I think you've got to accept that other people are finding their own way up into the industry, and we can all have a really nice workplace if we all help each other out.
Yeah.
I'm a big fan of, if I'm booked on location or whatever, and you know the van's full of, quite frankly, a lot of styling props, I don't expect everybody to help me out, but it's great if they do. And also it's great then when I help somebody else out, and you all work as a team. And I think that's the big thing nowadays in studios, is everybody's chipping in. It doesn't matter if I'm a stylist. If you need your light turning up a couple of stops and the assistant's not there, holler at me while you're checking things and I'll go and turn it up.
Yeah, it's great.
If you need me to hold a reflector, I'll go hold a reflector or whatever. Because I think if you don't work as a team, it breeds resentment.
Definitely. Yeah. You don't want to turn up to a shoot knowing that you're going to feel alone for the day.
Yeah. Yeah, exactly.
And
exactly.
Like you were saying, it's good to just help out. Like, if I'm on set and accept that people have other tasks to do apart from the exact role that they are hired for. Like,
yeah.
You need to do admin stuff. Everyone's got their laptops out to do stuff.
Yeah.
Like, so obviously without stepping on toes, it's nice to help out into the roles.
Yeah.
Like if a collar is slightly turned up and the stylist is doing something else, I'm happy to ask, do you mind if I do this?
Yeah.
And, 9 out of 10. I'd say 10 out of 10 times. They're going to be like, yeah, please. Like,
yeah.
There's no point in me standing up, walking over there, turn the collar down and come back. You know?
I think there is that stepping on toes thing as well, because there's some people who I've worked with who don't ask before they touch my styling, and that annoys me.
Yes.
But if people ask before, or they're like you say, they're closer and they're like, oh, I'm just going to fix this, like you say, a little bit of a collar, fine, go for it. But it's when people don't ask,
they start fiddling.
That annoys me. And then they go, oh, I've ruined it. And it's like, well, yeah.
It's because you don't know what you're doing.
It's because you've touched it.
It's because it's not as easy as it looks, is it?
Yeah,
and no, I've tried styling. I have a lot of respect for stylists. They are you patient people.
Well, not always, because sometimes I have to step away from stuff and just go and like proverbially scream into a pillow and then come back.
Yeah.
But I worked with a photographer not so long ago, probably before Christmas, and we were shooting blankets over a bench, like a long bench.
Nice.
And he got stuck for, the reason I was helping him was because he got stuck the day before with one blanket for a whole afternoon. He couldn't get it how he wanted it. I walked in, just like picked it up and just went plop, and it looked great. I'm not bigging myself up here, but it looked great. And he was like, yeah, one shot wonder.
Yeah.
And he was like, I needed you yesterday. And he was like, here's a pile of 25. Let's do these today.
Amazing. But no, you should pick yourself up.
Oh, it's hard though, isn't it? It's hard, especially when you're freelance. You've kind of got to put that hat on of being like your own promotional like assistant as well.
I saw a thing the other day saying it was, I don't know, some video, probably TikTok, I don't know. I'm down with the kids and all that.
Ditto.
Actually, it was probably Insta Reels or Facebook Stories, so I'm going to be honest.
Rechurned out TikTok.
Yeah, I'm going down each generation now. But it was basically saying that it was a guy saying, I don't find my own work impressive like everybody else does, but I don't find it impressive because I can do it.
Oh, yeah, that's true.
So
yeah.
it's like, well, if I can do it, then it can't be impressive because I'm me.
Yeah.
But it's like, no, you should big yourself up.
Yeah.
Like I've done some 3D things, just like logos and whatnot for people, and I'm not even finished with it. Like it's just the very preliminary setup, and they're like, "Oh my god, it's perfect." And I'm like, "This is a draft." Like, I'm just at the mock-up for a stage right now, and they're like, "No, that's exactly what I want." That, and I was like, I was going to overcomplicate it because I think it needs to be overcomplicated to be impressive.
Yeah.
But if you start believing that what you do is good, then things become so much simpler.
Yeah.
Like, obviously don't get so cocky that you're like, I am the best. But like, believe that the work that you're doing is good.
Yeah.
Like, have faith in that.
Yeah, that's a really good sentiment, really, I think is the right word there. Because I think so many of us freelancers struggle with it. And they kind of, is the word in self-depreciate?
Yeah.
Where they're like, oh, well, you know, it's just whatever, it's my job. And actually, like, I've said recently with Sicily, like, we don't realise how many people see our work and go, oh, wow, that's really cool. And you just go in because it's essentially your office.
Yeah. You
know, oh, mannequins again, or blankets again, whatever. And you don't think anything of it.
Yeah.
But it is. That's it. I'm going to take that away with me. That's a really nice little sentiment, I think.
I think it's important for people to recognise that the work that they do it's good. You're in that job for a reason. It's because you know what you're doing.
Yeah, even though sometimes you really don't feel like you know.
Even though you got through 7 hours by absolutely winging it. It's like you come out at the end of the day going like, I don't know how no one's called me out on my bullshit today.
Yeah. That 100% happens.
But that just means you know enough to make it look like you know what you're doing.
Yeah.
Which is...
That's very true.
No one knows what they're doing.
No, I don't think anybody does. And I think like the older I get, the more I realise that everybody else is also looking for the more adult-y adult in the room.
Yeah.
And we're all going like, should we really be here?
It's like my dad does he does computery things. I think it's like SQL server stuff. He types codey things, and he was telling me a few years ago what separates someone that knows what they're doing from someone that doesn't know what they're doing is the professional knows exactly what to Google to solve their problem. And the further I've got into, for example, Blender and like retouching, the more that's come true. Like, instead of spending an hour trying to find a solution, I now know exactly the terms to search to find that solution very quickly.
That's so true.
And it's like, okay, yeah, that makes so much sense. It's like, you've got enough knowledge to know how to solve that problem by finding someone else that's already solved that problem. Which is great.
Yeah, it's the 2020-ish version of getting an encyclopedia out from the 90s, basically.
Exactly. It's there. Yeah. All of the knowledge that you ever need is out there. You just need to know what to search for.
Yeah, that's so true. That's so true.
There you go. There's a couple of things to take away.
Oh, you've just blown my mind, you know. I'm mind blown.
Well, you're welcome, I suppose.
Thank you. You've just expanded my knowledge, which I love. I love learning, though. I think that's something about our industry as well, because we all work together so well as a little team.
Yeah.
You do then ask questions. You're like, oh, how have you nudged that in on Photoshop? How have you done that? How have you lit that? And you kind of get more curious, and that's how you learn a little bit more.
They're some of my favourite times of the day, is when people ask me to show them how to do things.
Yeah.
Like, I love teaching. I encourage people to reach out and ask me questions, because if I can't answer them, then it means I've got something to learn as well. So yeah, if anyone wants to know things, reach out.
Yeah, for sure. Your knowledge is insane.
I think I thank you.
Yes, you do. Yes.
Thank you for that,
my dear. Yes. Something that you mentioned just before we started recording. I say just, we're over an hour in.
Oh wow!
Is there something about a scam?
Yes, I got scammed on Facebook Marketplace.
Oh man!
I know. So I was so I bought a. Actually, before I start the story, I'm just going to take a 2-second break. Is that okay?
No worries.
Sorry.
Yeah, no worries.
I'll be back in a second.
Yeah, no worries. Whilst Andy's just taking his 2-second break, I am going to apologise a little bit for the noise, because I am recording up in our loft room, and today, of all days, the wind is howling as though she wants to come in my room and come say hi. So my apologies if you can hear any low-level wind. I am recording, like I say, in our top room on the top of a hill. We live on the top of a hill, so there's very beautiful views, but then there's also very beautiful weather, and more often than not, currently during the winter, it's sideways raining and howling wind. So yes, my apologies for that if you do hear it. Something else as well, Andy will be sharing the Photoshop floppy disk image with me, so I'll be able to pop that on the Stylich Insta page, so you'll be able to see that, and kind of you'll be able to see a little part into my mind as a 14-year-old child with the floppy disk. He's back. Hello
There. Sorry, I got some water
filling
now.
up.
Oh yes.
Yeah. See, this is what happens when we chat for an hour and a half. You need a good couple of pints of water.
Oh God, yeah.
Imagine what it's like working with me for a day, guys.
You need stamina.
And like
Buy
at
a
least
hose.
8 litres of water.
So yeah, I got scammed on Facebook Marketplace. So I'd been trying to sell my iMac. I bought it back in 2014.
Oh wow.
Yeah, so I'd had it a good while. This was last year. This happened. So it was a good, nicely spec'd iMac. I think I paid $2,000 for it. And the idea that it was to learn Blender. So yeah, at the time it was great, but it was starting to show its age, and I wanted to get something a bit more powerful. So yeah, I was selling it for funds towards either a new Mac or a new laptop.
Yeah.
And I put it up on loads of different places, and no one was biting. So I put it on Facebook Marketplace, and I put it up for £800 because it was in pristine condition. Obviously, bar the age thing.
Yeah.
It was boxed. It still had a shipping box.
Wow.
I had the dust protector over it still. It was as if it came packaged. All the cables were still, like, they were still in their coil. I managed to put it all back together. And all the protection for the keyboard and mouse as well. Everything was great. And I was like, someone's going to love this. This is going to go to a good home. So met up with a guy outside my apartment and did a bank transfer. Showed me it. And he was like, yeah, that's gone. Should show up in a couple of days because we're with different banks, of course. And nothing came through. So I was like,
no.
Tried to get in contact with him again, and his account had been deleted. And I was like, huh. And the number he'd gave me is now not going through to anywhere. So called up my bank, and they were like, no, there's nothing coming through. I was like, oh, you gotta be kidding me. So yeah, that was the last time I tried to sell something on Facebook.
Oh, fuck.
But since that happened, I'm a part of a few photography groups on Facebook. Quite a few people of them. Quite a few people from those groups, don't know where I was going with those words there, have said that they've either fallen victim to the same scam in a different country, or they were about to, until they read the stories that people are getting scammed in this way. So,
oh man,
yeah, this has taught me to use PayPal.
yeah, that's instant, isn't it?
Yeah, but I mean, this guy, he seems so genuine. Like, I had no reason to believe he was lying, because I asked him, I was like, what are you going to do with the iMac? And he was like, honestly, mate, I just buy them to resell them. And I was like, you know what? The honesty, it's fair.
Yeah.
So, so yeah, I took that as a quite expensive lesson.
Yeah, Jesus, that is quite an expensive lesson.
Yeah, not great.
Oh man, but the thing is, with online buying and selling of like tech, it's hard to track. Like I bought a Canon. I can't remember
camera
number it is, but it's a camera. Yeah. I am struggling with it. But yeah, I can't remember what number it was, but she had only used it a little bit, and it was just for me to like have, and you know, I take it on holiday and stuff. It's a really nice like SLR.
Nice.
But she must have shat her pants, because not DHL, maybe it was Every or somebody, or Hermes at the time, lost the parcel for a while.
Oh.
So like I'd paid her, but then I'd not got the product.
Right.
I'd not got the camera. And that was about £600 I paid for that, with its lens and everything. And it did turn up, but it turned up like it had been kicked around a warehouse. Thank God the camera is absolutely fine. You know, she packaged it really bloody well.
Yeah, good for her.
But she must have been like crapping her pants, like, oh God, I've just lost my camera, and you know, like, not, I mean, she got the money, but you know, it's just a pain in the arse, isn't it?
Your heart must be in your arse at that point, because like, you could come back and say, I've not got the camera, give me a refund.
Yeah.
Or she could just totally ignore you.
Yeah.
But then you could be lying. There's selling online is hard, which is why I thought, you know, doing it in person, what can go wrong? Everything.
Yeah. And even if you'd have got cash, it could have been fake notes, you know?
Yeah. I mean, there's always going to be people that try to scam you, so
yeah, just
be wary. I thought I was wary, just not enough, apparently.
Yeah. But I do think, like, Facebook Marketplace is a funny one. Like, I've bought a little bit and I've sold a little bit, but nothing's been of major value, you know, just like Christmas decorations I've used for a shoot or something, and just nothing of that. Yeah, of that value. But people sell like bloody cars and stuff on there, don't they? Yeah,
it's impressive what can be sold.
Yeah,
I'd be terrified selling anything more than 100 quid now. 50, maybe 10. That's my limit.
Yeah, I feel like 10's fine. Someone can give you a £10 note.
Yeah,
€10.
Someone will give me a tenner, please.
Yeah, that's it. Done. yeah. Just shake my hand and give me a tenner, please.
Yes, come on. You know it's right.
That's so funny. But yeah, it's hard selling stuff like that on, you know. I think Nath was initially going to build his own gaming computer and then chose to buy a gaming PC instead. And so he sold some of the parts on eBay, and one of the guys was like furious because there was a Royal Mail strike. One of the guys was absolutely furious that Nath was then sending it via like a delivery courier instead, and he was like, well, I hate to tell you this, but this has cost me more to send it via the courier, but it'll arrive on time. And this guy was like speaking to Nath as though Nath owned a massive shop, you know, and he was like, dude, I'm just selling some extra bits that I don't need anymore. Like,
Yeah, I'm
chill
just a
out.
bloke.
Yeah. He was like, chill out. It's just I don't know what it was, like, you know, just a computer part. But yeah, it's hard selling tech online.
Yeah, I don't recommend it. Not Facebook anyway. Go somewhere where you've got some assurance and where you can view people's profiles and their reviews.
Yeah.
eBay.
Yeah.
eBay's good.
Yeah.
Like if you can trust people's reviews to be real, you know.
Yeah. This is it. This is our digital world that we live in, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's a bit of a minefield. I would like to say that I trusted everybody I saw online, but I definitely don't. I've definitely got an air of like, is this bullshit now? Especially with regards to Facebook.
Oh yeah, I'm far too trusting as well. I take everyone at face value. It's like, why would you lie to me? You know? There's no reason to do this. Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's it's definitely something that you want to think the best of everybody, but you know, some people like to take advantage, don't they?
Yeah, they do.
Yeah, little shits. Oh, well, Andy, it has been so lovely to chat to you.
It's been very nice to catch up.
Yeah, it's been lovely to have a catch up. I think we'll finish there on your little scam story. So beware, guys. Don't go selling stuff on Facebook Marketplace of any value above £10.
If you buy things from there, don't steal from people.
Yeah. Just that's quite a nice general life rule, isn't it? Just don't steal.
Try your best.
Yeah. Oh, well, it's been so lovely to chat to you. Thank you so much for coming on the podcast.
Thank you very much. It's been fun.
It's been lovely.
Lovely.
Thanks so much.
See you later.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to this week's episode. I hope you enjoyed it. Please rate, follow and share, as it really helps this little podcast out. And if you have found value in the podcast and you have the means to, I do have a Buy Me a Coffee link in the show notes. This will help keep the podcast going. Join me next week for another fantastic guest. Bye!